Hello and welcome to the class. My name's Paddy. Today we're going to be talking about part 2 of the IELTS speaking test. If you have any questions after this class, remember that you can click on the chat icon at the top of your screen here. Send us a message if you have any questions. This is the first class of 2 classes, and this video will last just over 20 minutes. We're going to talk about what signposting is in spoken English, and I'm going to show you some examples that you can use when you're speaking. So by the end of this video, you will be more aware of how to structure your speaking naturally. During this class, there will be some questions for you to answer. You can find these below the video. I will tell you when you need to answer those questions, and I will give you about 10 to 15 seconds to do that. Okay, let's get started. So, what is signposting? Signposting is language that we use, phrases or expressions, that show the reader what we're going to say. It prepares them when they are listening to us. This can include telling the listener the type of information we are saying, if it's an opinion, if it's a fact, if we heard this from somebody else, or if it's news. It can show the listener how the information we are saying connects to previous information. So whether it is in contrast, or whether it is similar, or whether it extends the same point. We can also use signposting to organize and sequence our ideas, especially when we tell stories. We use expressions like after that, in the end, or before that to show the order in time. And we use signposting to emphasize a certain point. So when we want the listener to pay attention to a particular part of what we're saying, we can use signposting to stress or emphasize. I'm going to show you some sentences from students in the speaking exam. These sentences have signposting in them. I'd like you to read these sentences and decide what is the signposting expression or phrase. Look at the first question below this video and choose the signposting language that you see in those sentences. There are 4 examples. Choose the correct options now. So the correct options here were in the end, in particular, in my personal opinion, and despite this. So those are 4 examples of signposting language. But what is the function of those 4 phrases? Look at numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 functions up here. A, B, C, and D are the example sentences that show those functions. Can you match the function to the example sentence? Look at the next question below this video and choose the correct matches, the numbers, with the letters. A, in the end, this matches with function 3. So it organizes and sequences our ideas. The expression in the end tells us that this is the conclusion of the story, what happened in the end. B, in particular, this is function 4. It emphasizes a point. So this destination, or maybe city, is a great place to bring the family. In particular, I would recommend the riverboat tour. So I am stressing or highlighting this activity as particularly good. C, in my personal opinion, is number 1. It's showing that the next sentence is an opinion, not a fact, but an opinion. And D matches with 2. Our teacher told us it was too cold to go outside and play. Despite this, we ran into the snow on the playground. So despite this is showing that the previous sentence didn't affect the result. So it's showing a contrast with the previous sentence. So why is signposting so important? Well, without signposting, it can be difficult to know what somebody is actually trying to say. Let's look at this example sentence. It comes from a student in part 2 speaking about a wedding. Both families wanted to talk to people from the other family. Me and my wife's family are very close. Okay, so let's think about what this student is actually trying to say. Here are some possibilities. Read through these possibilities and then look at the question under this video. Choose the correct option that you think describes what this speaker is trying to say. So this is a bit of a trick question. The answer is, we have no idea. A, the speaker is happy. Well, we don't know if he's happy. It's not clear from what he said. B, the speaker is happy. Again, we don't know if he's happy. The families wanted to talk to each other. We know that's true, but we don't know if the speaker is happy about it. C, the families wanted to talk to each other because they are close. Well, I can't see a cause or effect relationship here. And D, they are close because they wanted to talk to each other at the wedding. Again, I can't see any cause or effect or reason relationship between these sentences. Now I'm going to add some discourse markers. What I loved was that both families wanted to talk to people from the other family, which is why me and my wife's family are very close. Okay, so we've added 2 discourse markers here. What I loved was that, and which is why. Now, look at those letters again, A, B, C, and D, and decide what is the speaker's intended meaning here. Look at the next question below this video and choose the 2 correct options. With these new discourse markers, I now know a little bit more about what the speaker was trying to say. A is correct. The expression "what I loved was" tells me that the speaker is happy about this information. He was happy that both families wanted to talk to each other. Which is why says that the previous sentence is a reason why he and his wife's family were so close. So D is true. They are close because both families wanted to talk to each other at the wedding. So those discourse markers or signposts tell you this information about what the speaker really means. I use the expression signpost, but they can also be called discourse markers. This is useful to know for your own research. It's good to learn as many of these types of phrases as you can, because it will really help you get fluent when speaking. At the beginning, when you first learn them, it can be difficult to remember them, but if you practice them as much as possible, it makes your speech more logical and easy to follow for the listener. Okay, we're going to look at some more examples of signposting. I'm going to read an example answer from part 2 of the IELTS speaking test. In my answer, there are several examples of signposting language. I'm going to show these to you while I'm speaking. The question asks me to speak about a person who has influenced me a lot in my life. Okay. So I'd like to talk about the person who has influenced me the most in my life. That person is without a doubt my grandfather. He's currently 92 years old and he lives not far from my town. Surprisingly, he has never left this part of the country. He's stayed here his whole life. But despite this, he is very open-minded and he knows a lot. That's because he spends so much time reading books and learning about the world. He's also a very sociable person. I can't say for certain, but I reckon he probably knows everyone in the village where he lives. I really feel that he's such an easy person to get along with. Above all, it's his kindness and generosity that I will remember him for. Okay, so as you can see there, there's about 8 discourse markers for a short piece of speech. All of these discourse markers have different functions, and let's look at what those functions are. Okay, so let's check the function of the signposting language that I used and compare it to the similar language in the table. First, we have giving opinions. The example in the table is I think. We could also have in my opinion. What we've used in my answer was I really feel that. So it's giving my personal opinion here. We have comparing and contrasting. Despite this is an expression of comparing and contrasting. Showing uncertainty, we could have I reckon and I can't say for certain, but. So both of these expressions tell the listener that I'm not 100% sure about the information I'm saying. Giving reasons, well, we have that's because. So this gives the reason for something. Language of emphasizing, we have without a doubt and above all. So this means I want the listener to pay attention to what I'm about to say. And finally, phrases for telling the listener how to feel about the information, well, unfortunately, tells the reader that this information is sad or bad news. Surprisingly, tells the reader that this information is going to be shocking, unusual, or surprising. So as we can see here, there are many different discourse markers for each of those functions, and you should try to learn as much as possible of this type of language. Some signposting language is formal, and some signposting language is informal. Formal signposting language is the type of thing you might see in an essay. Things like in conclusion, furthermore. These are formal. However, informal signposting language is much more appropriate for the IELTS speaking test. We're going to look at some examples of formal expressions and see if we can think of more informal equivalents. My laptop has a bag, and as a result, I can take it with me everywhere. Let's focus on the expression as a result. Can we think of a synonym which is less formal or informal for as a result? Look at the next question below this video and choose the expression which is a less formal meaning for as a result. Instead of as a result, we could say and so. My laptop has a bag and so I can take it with me everywhere. Phrases like consequently are still very formal. Okay, next sentence. The restaurant is really comfortable. Furthermore, the staff are very friendly. This is very formal. I would not say this if I was talking to a friend or in the IELTS exam. So look at the next question below this video and choose the two informal expressions that could replace furthermore. So the expressions we could use here are also or what's more. What's more is a really good one. The restaurant is really comfortable. What's more, the staff are very friendly. So I'm adding information there. Expressions like moreover and furthermore are too formal for IELTS speaking. My oldest brother is a very serious person. In contrast, I'm always joking around. So this is an expression of contrast, but in contrast is too formal. Look at the next question below this video and choose the informal expression with the same meaning as in contrast. Here, we can just use the word but. So but is going to be much more common in spoken English. Finally, I'd like to look at one more example of signposting language that we can use to show our feelings or opinion about a situation or a thing. Let's read the example sentence. The variety of products is the thing I like about this shop. So we have two nouns here, the variety of products, the thing I like about this shop. I want to show my opinion or feeling first, so I have switched these two. The thing I like about the shop is the variety of products. So we can do this to emphasize what our opinion is. We don't only have to do this with the verb be, we can use other verbs. The amount of noise near our hotel annoyed me. So the subject is the amount of noise near our hotel, and the object is me. The verb is annoy. If I want to make a cleft sentence here, I move annoyed to the beginning and I use what as a replacement subject. So what annoyed me was the amount of noise near our hotel. So I've added the word what and I've added the word was. Here we have two sentences. People were really friendly and I loved this about Thailand. So here I have an opinion about the level of an adjective. I have an opinion about the level of friendliness or how friendly people were. So I've added the word how. What I loved about Thailand was how friendly the people were. These kind of cleft sentences are great for giving yourself time to think. What I love most about my hometown is the thing which really annoys me is they're really useful for introducing an opinion or an emotion. So this structure is worth learning and studying. We can start with what I loved was, or the thing I loved was. The verb is usually a verb of opinion here. We need the verb to be, and then we have a noun phrase or an adjective phrase with how. That is the end of the class. Remember, if you have any questions after you've watched this, you can click on that chat icon at the top of your screen here. Send us a message with any questions that you have. Thank you for listening.